Have you ever noticed how much of your life is quietly controlled by something you cannot even see? It follows you into your decisions, whispers into your mind before every opportunity, and convinces you to play small. That invisible force is fear. Fear tells you not to take the risk. It tells you that you are not good enough. It convinces you that people will judge you if you fail. It paints vivid pictures of everything that could go wrong until you begin believing those pictures are reality. But today, I want you to pause and ask yourself a simple question. Is fear actually real? Take a moment and look around you. Right now, as you listen to these words, are you in immediate physical danger? Is your life being threatened at this exact moment? Most likely, the answer is no. You are breathing, your heart is beating, you are safe. So where is this overwhelming feeling of fear coming from? The answer may surprise you. Fear rarely exists in the present moment. More often than not, it exists only inside the stories your mind creates about the future. Your mind is an extraordinary machine. It has the incredible ability to imagine things that have never happened. That gift has helped humanity build civilizations, invent technology, create art, and dream of a better future. But the same imagination that creates miracles can also create misery. Instead of imagining possibilities, we imagine disasters. Instead of seeing opportunities, we predict failure. Instead of trusting ourselves, we rehearse rejection. Without realizing it, we spend hours living inside futures that never arrive. Think about your own life. How many times have you worried about something for days, weeks, or even months? Only to discover that the situation turned out completely different. Perhaps you feared an interview, a difficult conversation, a medical report, an important presentation, or simply the opinions of other people. Now ask yourself another question. How many of those fears actually became reality? For most people, the answer is surprisingly few. Yet the suffering felt absolutely real. That is the strange power of imagination. It can make an illusion feel more convincing than reality itself. And the moment you understand this, something begins to change. You stop believing every fearful thought that appears in your mind. Because you finally realize, not every thought deserves your trust. Have you ever wondered why your mind keeps replaying the same fearful stories, even after they've proven false time and time again? You would think that after years of experience, the mind would finally learn that most of its worst predictions never come true. And yet, it doesn't. Instead, it continues to imagine failure before success, rejection before acceptance, and loss before opportunity. Why? Because your brain is not designed primarily to make you happy. It is designed to keep you alive. For thousands of years, our ancestors survived because their brains constantly searched for danger. A sudden movement in the bushes could have been a predator. A strange sound in the darkness could have meant death. Those who paid attention to potential threats had a better chance of surviving and passing on their genes. That ancient survival system still lives inside you today. The only difference is that the dangers have changed. The tiger has disappeared, but now your brain treats an email, a job interview, a social media comment, or a difficult conversation as if they were life-threatening events. Your survival system cannot always tell the difference between a real physical danger and an imagined psychological one. And that's where unnecessary suffering begins. The moment you think, "What if I fail?" your brain immediately starts collecting evidence to support that fear. It reminds you of every mistake you've ever made, every embarrassing moment, every disappointment, every rejection. It edits your memories like a movie director who only keeps the scenes where things went wrong. Suddenly, the future begins to look terrifying, not because it actually is, but because your mind has carefully selected only the darkest possibilities. This is why fear often feels so convincing. It borrows images from your past and projects them onto a future that hasn't even happened. But here's something truly fascinating. Your brain is not trying to punish you. It honestly believes it is protecting you. It thinks that if it can prepare you for the worst, you won't be caught off guard. Unfortunately, this strategy comes with a hidden cost. You end up experiencing the same pain twice. First in your imagination, and then, if the event actually happens, in reality. Most of the time, the second experience never even arrives. Only the imaginary suffering exists. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks every single day, only to discover that none of those rocks were ever needed. That is exactly what unnecessary fear does. It burdens your heart, drains your energy, steals your confidence, and slowly convinces you to live a smaller life than you were meant to live. The beautiful truth is this. The moment you become aware of this pattern, you are no longer trapped by it. Awareness creates distance. Instead of saying, "I am afraid," you begin saying, "My mind is creating a fearful story." That one small shift changes everything. Because stories can be rewritten, movies can be edited, thoughts can be replaced, and the author of your mind has always been you. Imagine for a moment that your mind is not just a collection of thoughts. Imagine it is a movie studio. Every single day, without even realizing it, your mind writes a script, chooses the actors, creates the scenes, adds the background music, and finally projects the movie onto the screen of your imagination. The question is, what kind of movie have you been producing? For many people, it is the same film every single day. A horror movie. The story begins with a simple thought. What if something goes wrong? Within seconds, the imagination takes over. The small thought becomes a detailed scene. You see yourself failing the interview. You hear people criticizing you. You imagine losing the opportunity. You picture yourself standing alone, disappointed and defeated. Nothing has actually happened, yet your heart begins to race. Your breathing changes. Your muscles tighten. Your body reacts as though the movie is real. This is the incredible power of imagination. Your body responds not only to reality, it responds to whatever your mind believes. That is why a nightmare can make you wake up with a pounding heart, even though nothing actually happened. The same process takes place during the day. Your imagination becomes your reality. But here's the most important realization of all. No one else is directing this movie. No one else is writing the script. You are, and if you are the director, you also have the power to yell one simple word. Cut. The scene stops. The script changes. The story takes a new direction. Think about the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders in history. Before they achieved anything in the outside world, they first saw it inside their minds. They rehearsed success. They imagined themselves staying calm under pressure. They visualized solving problems instead of running away from them. This wasn't wishful thinking. It was mental training. Your imagination is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant there, fear or confidence, doubt or courage, despair or hope, eventually begins to shape the way you think, feel, and act. So ask yourself this question. If your imagination is powerful enough to create suffering, isn't it also powerful enough to create strength? If your mind can produce endless scenes of failure, why not produce scenes of resilience? Imagine yourself walking into the interview with confidence. Imagine yourself speaking with clarity. Imagine yourself smiling after making a mistake because you know one mistake cannot define your future. Imagine yourself becoming stronger after every challenge instead of weaker. Will every positive image become reality? Not necessarily. Life remains unpredictable. But here's the beautiful difference. When you imagine hope, you experience hope. When you imagine courage, you feel courage. When you imagine peace, your nervous system begins to relax. And even if reality unfolds differently, at least your own mind has become your greatest friend instead of your greatest enemy. Remember this, your imagination is one of the greatest gifts you have ever been given. Don't use it to imprison yourself. Use it to set yourself free. Because the movie playing inside your mind today will influence the life you create tomorrow. Fear has one secret that very few people ever discover. It cannot survive in the present moment. Think about that for a second. Fear almost always lives somewhere else. It lives in tomorrow, in next week, in next year. It lives inside the endless question. What if? What if I fail? What if people reject me? What if everything falls apart? But notice something remarkable. None of those things are happening right now. They exist only as thoughts. The present moment is astonishingly simple. Right now, you are listening, you are breathing, your heart is beating, the ground beneath you is holding you. Life is simply unfolding, one moment at a time. Yet the mind rarely wants to stay here. It constantly travels into an imaginary future, collecting problems that do not yet exist. It's like carrying an umbrella every single day because it might rain next month. The burden is real, even though the storm never arrives. This is how anxiety becomes a habit. The more often you rehearse fearful thoughts, the stronger the habit becomes. Eventually, your mind begins creating fear automatically, not because danger is present, but because the pattern has become familiar. The good news is that habits can be changed. Every time you notice yourself spiraling into fear, pause, take one slow, deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel your feet touching the ground. Listen to the sounds around you. Notice the weight of your body. Bring your attention back to what is actually happening, not to what your imagination predicts. This simple practice may seem ordinary, but it is incredibly powerful, because awareness interrupts the habit. It reminds your nervous system that, in this moment, you are safe. And when your body feels safe, your mind slowly stops inventing unnecessary danger. That doesn't mean life will never be difficult. Challenges will come, losses will happen, unexpected events are part of being human. But suffering twice, once in imagination, and again in reality, is a choice you no longer have to make. Instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong? Try asking, what if everything works out better than I expect? Or even better, what can I do with this moment that is in my control? That question brings you back to reality. Because the present moment is the only place where your actions have power. You cannot act in yesterday. You cannot act in tomorrow. You can only act now. Every peaceful life is built Not 1 year at a time, not 1 month at a time, but one present moment at a time. The more often you return to this moment, the weaker fear becomes, not because you fought it, but because you stopped feeding it. And in that quiet space, you begin to discover something beautiful. Peace was never missing, it was simply hidden beneath the noise of your imagination. There comes a moment in every person's life, a quiet moment, when they finally realize that the greatest prison they have ever lived in was never built by the world. It was built by their own mind. For years, perhaps even decades, you may have believed that fear was your enemy. You tried to fight it. You tried to silence it. You tried to escape it. But now you see something different. Fear was never the problem. Believing every fearful thought was the problem. Thoughts are not facts. They are simply mental events that appear and disappear. Just because your mind says you can't do it doesn't mean it's true. Just because your imagination paints a picture of failure doesn't mean your future has already been written. The future is not created by fear. It is created by the choices you make today. Every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you take one small step despite uncertainty, every time you refuse to believe the frightening stories inside your mind, you reclaim another piece of your freedom. Real courage is not the absence of fear. Real courage is moving forward, even when fear is whispering in your ear. Because courage says something that fear never can. I'll find a way. Imagine looking back at your life many years from now. What will matter more, the fears that tried to stop you, or the moments when you chose to move anyway? No one reaches the end of life wishing they had worried more. People regret the opportunities they never took, the dreams they abandoned, the love they never expressed, the adventures they were too afraid to begin. Don't let imagination become the author of your regrets. Instead, let it become the architect of your dreams. Use your imagination to create a future worth walking toward. Use your thoughts to strengthen your spirit instead of weakening it. Use every challenge as an opportunity to discover how much stronger you truly are. And whenever fear returns, because sometimes it will, smile gently, welcome it like an old visitor. Then remind yourself, this is only another story my mind is telling. Take one deep breath, return to this moment, take the next step, then another, and another. That is how extraordinary lives are built. Not through the absence of fear, but through the decision to keep moving. Remember this one final truth. Your mind is a magnificent servant, but a terrible master. The day you stop obeying every fearful thought, and start consciously choosing your own inner story, is the day your real freedom begins. So don't spend your life watching horror movies created by your own imagination. Become the director, write a new script, create a new story, and let that story be one of courage, peace, purpose, and limitless possibility. Because the most beautiful chapter of your life has not been written yet. It begins with the next thought you choose. If this message touched your heart, don't let it end here. Take just one thing from this video. The next time fear appears, don't fight it. Simply smile, take a deep breath, return to the present moment. And remember, you are not your fear. You are the one who is aware of it. If you found this video valuable, consider sharing it with someone who may need these words today. And if you'd like to explore more ideas about inner peace, mindfulness, and self-discovery, subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey. Until next time, take care of your mind, because the quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Thank you for watching.